Welcome to the Restore It Ralph channel. I'm out in the shop. It's about 37 degrees. It's time to put some tools and toys away. So I need to start some vehicles, and I might as well maybe break one out of winter jail. And the roads are kind of clean because the rain got washed off all the salt. So get to maybe rinse away some of the winter blues. This is my 1942 Ford pickup truck. It's got an EFI 5.9 Mopar Magnum with an AX15 5-speed manual. This thing usually starts up pretty decent as long as it's got a battery in it, so we'll see if it's got any juice left. I really hate the look of this seat. It's out of a, 90s Grand Cherokee. It's the rear seat. It's so comfy though. It needs a reupholster so it doesn't look like a pillow. A little bit of lifter clatter went away. We're good to go. See if there's any gas in this thing. Oh yeah, we're good. The temperature gauge works backwards on this truck, so do not be alarmed. Something to do with the original gauge cluster had a reverse sending unit on it, so I haven't really fixed that, nor do I plan on it. It'll be fine. Oil pressure gauge does work. And where the ammeter should be, I've never put anything in there, so we're just gonna assume it's charging. This is why I'm out here cleaning up today, because I realized I had a bunch of Mopar kickdown linkage sitting on the passenger front fender of this thing when I was digging that stuff out for the Diplomat project. So I need to get my stuff back together so I don't drive down the street and lose all my vintage parts. Driven this thing much in the last couple of months. The transmission fluid get a little warmed up. It likes to shift a little crunchy until it does. This AX15 actually gives me some nice gear whine that reminds me of when this thing had the flathead in it back when I was a kid. Granny gear 4-speed did not have overdrive like this, so this thing actually runs nicely down the interstate. So this truck's been in my family since about 1968, and been passed through family members. My dad gave it to me about, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. That's when I put the EFI fuel injector V8 in it. Been driving it around ever since. Making new memories with my son and my dad, and just enjoying this whole Definitely one of my favorites. Gotta love this thing. So today I was able to use the heater in this thing. This is actually a vintage heater that my dad got out of a junkyard in the 1960s for this truck. And I basically gutted the old heater core and put one out of like, 97 F-150, I think is the one that fit. So then it's got a modern heater core, is new, and then I've got a blower motor behind it that kind of blows it out. So when you want heat, you just open the door. So that is a blend door, I guess you would call it in modern times. But looks old, works like new, and don't look at the wires above it. All right, time to start the old Belvedere up. This one will probably take a little bit more work to get it running, but it shouldn't be too bad. I just had it running before Christmas, so we'll see what the old cold big block will do. Nope. All right, I guess I got to push it back a little bit because I got it packed up so tight against the barn wall. Put the battery charger on it and let her cook for a little bit. Okay, it's cooked for about an hour. Let's see if that was enough. Going with plan B here, I'm going to move all my garbage off the hood of the 59 so I can get to the battery in that. Maybe jump start this thing, so I'll push this thing back more and just move my pile of garbage from one car to another car. There's Turbo Diplomat stuff. So that will be moving on to another project. We'll save that story for later. Not really sure what makes me think the battery in this thing is going to be any better, but I guess we'll try it anyways. Yeah, I'll just push the car back, run the jumper cables to it, see if we can drain both batteries. And I wonder why I can't get anything done. All right, plan C, charger running, actually jump starting. See if that's enough to get this thing spinning, where it'll start. There she goes. At least hanging up the stupid roof carrier, the whole point of this endeavor is complete. But give me an excuse to start some vehicles. I'm not sure if I feel like working that hard on this one, we'll see. I've had this car since I was 15 and a half, and it is getting better and better, but it's still a lot of work to go. Needs some trans fluid right now from sitting and leaking all winter. Still, my favorite car. All right, I guess it's time to put it away. Maybe tomorrow I'll get it back out again. For me, it doesn't get much better than a cammed up big block. My barn is big enough, but just. So I need to pop this thing in neutral, push the truck forward a little bit closer, so that way I can get this thing in far enough to where the door will close and I can get past it to hook it. There we go. I think that's tight enough. Just barely. Maybe Restore It Ralph headquarters needs to be expanded a little bit. It's the next day, and I decided to come back out here. It's a little bit warmer. We're gonna get the 59 Plymouth started, or at least attempt to. That way I can get to some of the tools and parts that I'm looking for the next projects. I'm assuming the battery's gonna be low on this one, so we'll probably have to fight this one just like we did yesterday on the blue car. But this one also likes to lose its prime if it sits for a couple months, so I have to splash a little bit of fuel in it to get her started. cold-blooded, but not too bad. 46 degrees is what it says in the shop. No choke. I'll call that good enough. Let her warm up for a little bit. I guess it's time to get this mechanical asshole out of here before we all choke to death. Not gonna lie, it's probably a little cold for a windows down cruise, but totally worth it. One of the next projects I'm going to do is get this thing ready for paint. One of the biggest problems with this Jeep is right here. This thing looks like a tree or something fell on the quarter panel. I know that this glass has been replaced because it's not original. So what I'm going to have to do is pull this back window out. I'll probably use a stud gun and body hammers and kind of get that straight, and then put the window back in. So I've got a window seal for it. I've got some suction cups to hold that thing and hopefully not break it. But that will be one of the next big projects here on the channel and in the barn. I'm gonna tackle a little project on the red truck here. It's been bugging me for a little bit. The blower switch is really wonky in this thing. And a couple dead spots. I just so happen to have a whole parts control unit out of old truck I had, so I'm going to swap this thing over and make it to where the heat actually works reliably. I forgot also that I've got this quarter jammed in my stereo because there must be a loose connection on it, and when I do that, the stereo works. So I think I have to pull this whole dash bezel off anyway, so I might as well kill two birds with one stone and investigate that while I'm in there. If I remember right, this might be a pain in the butt just because there's a cable that goes on this too, and I don't remember how much slack there is, so we'll see how this goes. Got the cable unclipped with breaking it just minimally, so I'm going to try and get in here and unhook this vacuum harness without breaking it, and hopefully all this old brittle plastic will come loose. All right, I got a switch that works and now fan speeds that work. Time to investigate why this 10-year-old $20 stereo doesn't work. Hopefully it's just a loose ground or something. I think I found it. That will do it. So the ground screw was actually stripped out in the back of the radio. So yes, that is a license plate screw. No, I don't care. All right, all back together. Maybe I'll drive this thing to work instead of that miserable K car. Give it a break. Putting my new car away. I guess this thing is an 07, not really new anymore, but still sounds good, runs good. Around 140 something thousand miles on it, so good reliable transportation, but I haven't run it all winter. I don't want it to rust, right? Got an even warmer day today, so after work I'm gonna start pulling the inside trim off of this window so I can maybe start cutting the window out of here and doing some body work on this rear quarter panel. Gonna try and decide whether to cut it from the inside or the outside. This looks pretty thick as far as the windshield gasket goes, but I'm not sure which way it fits over top the pinch weld. So if the window's on the inside of the pinch or the outside, I'm gonna have to start cutting and figure that out. This is not super pliable, so if I can get it cut, I might be able to maybe tear it and peel it off of there. I have to see how hard this fights me. Picked up these cheap suction cup glass holders. Hopefully these things will work. I don't see why they wouldn't, but if I end up dropping my glass, that'd be, it would have been worth buying some better ones, I suppose. So hopefully they just work fine. Well, it's shaking the Jeep around, so another one on the other side, it should be plenty for this. So I needed 2 hands to do this, but I used my side cuts to snip that top side of the seal. Kind of dug in here with the side cuts and also a straight razor blade. You'll see that is the bottom of the glass right there. So if I peel the outside here, this whole thing might come out the outside. So I'm going to be careful, start peeling it back. So the way that it's cutting, it looks like it laps over the pinch weld here, and it looks like it's gonna go inward when I remove it. So I'm gonna maybe finish cutting this bottom edge, maybe the top, and see if it'll swing in from the top, kind of go from there. Top of the seal is still on there. This was a 2-handed operation, so I did not film it as I was taking it out for fear of breakage, but window is out. Now I can start working on this damage right here. Harbor Freight moving blanket on the hood of a 59 Plymouth is probably not what a glass shop would do. Since I managed to get this window out without breaking it, I'm going to carefully cut this remaining gasket off of here and get it ready to go back in eventually. I probably won't get this body work done because of the cold weather, but at least I got to start. I'm pretty happy with the condition of the window channel in this thing. I was kind of expecting rust, and there's just a little bit of like surface rust back here. I think I just clean up. No rot holes or anything like that. And then when we get back here, you can see where the tree or something that fell through dented right on that window channel. So I'm going to be getting underneath it and hitting upwards. I probably will borrow a stud welder and try and pull that up as well and see if I can get this whole quarter back working into shape. It kind of came down here and pushed the body out that way, so I got a lot of work to do back here. Just dug out my box of Wagoneer parts, so I got some extra window flex tracks, a Wagoneer wood grain sample, which is going to be terrible when I have to spend that money. And then here are my new window gaskets. I only really need one of these things, so I'm gonna take those in the house, let them get warm up and stretched out. What else we got here? Original emblems, paint, door handle gasket set, and some window sweeps so when I go back together it doesn't look all crusty. Well, not a whole lot of work done, but getting that back window out was something I was worried about because I'm not a glass guy, and anytime you're working with glass, you have the possibility of breaking it. So that's out, and now I can actually do some hammering and body work on that thing and get it to where it's straightened out. That's probably the worst spot on the Jeep that's left. I've already done a bunch of welding and repairs on that. Any body work progress in February is a win, so I'm going to call this a win. Managed to get a OBD2 Magnum harness out of the pull and pay with pretty much no problem, so it should be good for the next little project going on. As always, thanks for watching, and like, comment, and subscribe.